Rupert Murdoch, the chair of Fox and News Corp, is stepping down from running his global media empire.
How do you think Rupert Murdoch's going to be remembered?
Objectively, American democracy is in perilous condition. The nation's politics are poisoned. Truth has become optional instead of desired or even required. The Republic has, of course, always faced threats to it, even before Rupert Murdoch. But so much of the current state of our democracy can be traced back to the beast of his creation. His legacy is outrage porn, partisan red meat, stoking relentless culture wars, are lies, and they cost Fox more than $700 million.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Now, I've been covering the stain that is the Murdoch Meltdown Network for quite some time. But in the wake of the news that Chief Outrage Officer Rupert Murdoch was stepping down, CNN host Abby Phillip put together a scathing compilation highlighting the irreparable damage that the network has done. And when I tell you that even I wasn't prepared for some of these clips, you have to trust me.
But it all started with what you could argue is a noble vision to create a center-right news network, to elevate more perspectives that aren't based in Gotham or in Washington. But instead, stoking division seemed to become Murdoch's mission. So did power, and so did the money. Fox became a mouthpiece for Republican administrations, a mouthpiece really for Donald Trump, and eventually a vehicle for his baseless conspiracies. To really illustrate just a small taste of this mission, 25 years in the making.
White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax.
We keep marrying other species and other ethnics and other...
Are you sure you're not suffering from some of the causes of dementia right now?
See, the problem is the Swedes have pure genes because they marry other Swedes, because that's the rule. Finns marry other Finns, so they have a pure society. In America, we marry everybody.
Asian people are not liberal, by nature. They're usually more industrious and hardworking.
You're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Well, say you're a cocaine dealer, and you kind of look like one a little bit.
For all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white, but this person is just arguing that maybe we should also have a black Santa. But, Santa is what he is.
Precisely is diversity our strength?
Well, I have something in common with Obama, and I don't even know what the big deal is. He's a African anyway.
Michelle Obama is so, like the Duchess when she speaks
kind of
about...
Annoying,
she is. Because, by the way, they're not just...
How well could she be eating? She needs to drop a few.
Bill is the average American here, and I'm President Obama. This is the way I feel. I feel like President Obama is just saying, you know what? I've got that $3.5 trillion budget that we're doing. Is this cold?
The biggest myth of all time is that sweatshops are bad.
This virus should be compared to the flu because at worst case scenario, it could be the flu.
This was not and is not a pandemic.
We like the fact that there's a lot of cases in low-risk populations because that's exactly how we're going to get herd immunity.
These mRNA vaccines, the mRNA COVID vaccines, need to be withdrawn from the market now. No one should get them. No one should get boosted.
Look at it right there. These same workers who stayed behind, they're now wheeling out the suitcases that were under that rectangular table there.
The footage appears to show poll workers pulling ballots out of suitcases after they told poll monitors to go home.
Sydney, we talked about the Dominion software. I know that there were voting irregularities.
That is where the fraud took place, where they were flipping votes in the computer system or adding votes that did not exist.
Dominion voting systems, you have described it with algorithms in which were designed to be inaccurate. Rather than to be a secure system.
I can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez.
We have a machine, the Dominion machine, that's as filled with holes as Swiss cheese, and was developed to steal elections and being used in the states that are involved.
Watching this, it actually reminds me of something I read in regards to Fox. Fox News did to our parents what they feared video games would do to us.
That is Fox News, 25 years of it. And of course, those last few clips are lies, and they cost Fox more than $700 million. Now, you can cherry pick any outlet's blunders, mistakes, embarrassments, but the difference here is that what you saw are not anomalies. They are features, not a bug. And one of their tricks of the trade is repetition, daily, even hourly. If you say the talking point consistently enough, Americans become addicted to the outrage. In fact, in the case of January 6th, people blindly believed those talking points. They acted on them. And many of those defendants have testified in court before being sent to prison that was the case.
The damage from mainstreaming brazen racism, misogyny, xenophobia, and bigotry is simply unquantifiable. I mean, everything from radicalizing terrorists, slandering people, fear-mongering week after week, all under the pretense of news.
Well, Rupert Murdoch is the most poisonous individual of my lifetime. 20 years ago, just as an example, on the road to war in Iraq, Rupert Murdoch owns 175 newspapers all around the world, and all 175 newspapers backed the Iraq war. They softened up public opinion for what was a calamity which took the lives of hundreds of thousands of people and unleashed terrible blood and chaos. And why do I mention that? Because it shows that the idea that we have this free press with all these newspaper outlets and media outlets around full of rigorous journalism, coincidentally, all backed this catastrophic war. The Islamophobia, that paved the way for Donald Trump, who he spoke to every single week when he was president. Or if you think about the climate emergency, spreading climate denialism about what is an existential threat to human civilization, his attacks on migrants, refugees.
So you're a big fan then, right?
Huge fan.
There are no words I could say really that would summarize the damage of Rupert Murdoch's legacy. I mean, Shiv Roy tried, and look how far she got.
My father.
But the impact is unavoidable. It's outrage over substance, ad hominem over rational arguments, emotion over empathy, conspiracy regardless of consequence, anecdotes over anything remotely truthful, and the list just goes on and on.
Now, asked in a recent deposition whether the rationale for allowing those lies to spread on his platform was, quote, not red or blue, but green, Murdoch replied, correct.
And while the architect of doom may be stepping down, the building remains pretty solid. And I know that's hard to hear, but if you look at the viewership, they're not going anywhere. So the fight remains in order to shed light amidst the darkness, because as we've clearly seen, ignoring it doesn't make it go away.
And it makes sense. His network repeated these lies, and it hit the kingmaker in his pocketbook. But Murdoch sewed that fabric, and he rewarded the loudest voices in the room. He accelerated this idea that if someone called out a lie and called it a lie, you're a liberal stooge, you're a hack, not to be trusted. You are woke, whatever that means. And there is no doubt that it's working, for his bottom line at least. But the question is tonight, at what cost? At what cost to America? And at what cost to all of us?
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.